I'm going to be teaching you how to do a fish and chips on a fixed gear. Hello YouTube, Jackson here. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to do a fish and chips on a fixed gear. Fish and chips have been by far the most requested trick tutorial, and for good reason. They're a super rad trick. I mean, just look at it. I'm pretty sure you could only do a fish and chips on a fixed gear bike, which makes them super cool and unique. And they're also really, really hard. I've been riding fixed gear for 10 years and I didn't learn how to fish and chips until this past year. Most of this was just being lazy and never really trying it. Shout out to Wes Brown for first teaching me. Today I'm gonna give you everything you need to know to learn the trick, give you some pointers. Before we get into it, I just wanna say tag me and FOAD on Instagram. We're gonna be doing a featured repost for this trick. Doesn't matter if you fail or land it, I want to see your guys' progress. Now that that's out of the way, let's talk about what you need before you get started. Number one, a fixed gear bike. That's pretty obvious. I always recommend straps and BMX platform pedals. They're easy to get out of, they're durable, they've got good leverage. Flat or riser bars are also going to give you the best leverage and maneuverability for the trick. Also make sure that your tires are nice and pumped up to a good PSI. When you're doing the slider, you're going to get a lot more drag if you don't have a high PSI. Next thing, you really want to lower your seat for this one. I definitely recommend 3, maybe 4, 5 inches for this. Honestly, I would slam that thing as far as it goes. I have a layback seat post, so I can't put it down all the way. This one's gonna sound super silly, but tight or fitting pants are definitely gonna help you. When I was first learning this, I would always get the crotch of my pants stuck on my saddle. So if you have some tight pants, I definitely would recommend them. The next thing you're gonna need is a space to learn the trick. I recommend an empty parking lot. You want something that's super smooth. Some people might recommend learning it on a slicker surface to help you with the slider action. Personally, I think it's better to just do it on smooth asphalt. That way you're not accidentally slipping out. The last and most important thing you're gonna need is patience, a good attitude, and a lot of time to practice. This trick is really hard. There's definitely a weird learning curve to this trick. As you do it more and more, you'll get it. Personally, I think you should probably know how to fakie, how to slider, and how to keo spin before you learn how to fish and chips. It's not completely necessary, but those tricks are just a little bit easier, and if you can get those down, you'll have a more likely chance that you'll learn how to fish and chips. All right, now that you have everything that you need to do a fish and chips, let's get started. First thing you need to figure out is which way you want to spin and which foot is your dominant foot. What I mean by your dominant foot is your front foot. You can figure out which foot is your dominant foot by doing a skid, a bunny hop, whichever foot is forward is your dominant foot. Make sure that your dominant foot is on the outside of your spin direction. So if your dominant foot is right, you turn left. If your dominant foot is left, you turn right. It's sort of like skateboarding. There's a goofy and a regular. There's nothing wrong with either. It's just what you're more comfortable with. Personally, I'm right foot forward and I spin to the left. Also keep in mind that you're going to be taking your outside hand off the bars. For me, that's my right hand. So there's really 3 parts to a fish and chips: the carve, the slider, and the rollout. First, let's talk about the carve. The first part of a fish and chips is definitely weird feeling and unnatural. To start the trick, you're going to be wanting to go pretty slow. If the parking lot that you're in has a slight incline, be sure that you're going down it. This will help with your momentum. So you're going to start the hard carve when your pedals are straight up and down with your front foot at the top. Make sure that you're actually turning your bars and not just leaning into a turn. You're going to be turning so sharply that it almost feels like your body weight wants to keep going forward, but your bike is turning the other direction. Also make sure that you don't X up your bars because this is really easy to do. After you've done this a couple times, take your outside hand off the bars and grab the seat. As you reach the apex of the carve, about 180 degrees, your pedals should be flat or just above flat. Part 2 is the slider. This is where the actual bulk of the trick happens. This part is also super weird. This is where you're going to take your spinning momentum and actually go backwards. Once you've got a good hold of your seat, you're going to take your butt and put it behind your seat and start to crank backwards. Push back on your back foot and pull up on your front foot. At the same time, and this sounds like a lot of stuff happening because it is, your bars are going to turn 90 degrees. If everything is going well, you should continue your spin and your momentum will start going backwards. This is just super mind-boggling, and it definitely takes a ton of practice to be doing all of these things at the same time. At this point, it's pretty easy to loop out of the trick, although you can continue the fish and chips if your front wheel lifts off the ground. If you don't have enough momentum to keep the slider going, try to shift your weight further back, crank harder, and pull harder on your seat. If you're not spinning in a circle, try dropping your shoulder to the inside of the curve. Throughout this trick, your head should always be looking ahead of the direction that you're spinning. It feels like a mix of a slider and a keo spin because you're pivoting all at the same time. Also, I should note that some people prefer to take off their front foot while they're in the slider. Personally, I do not get it, I don't understand it, and I don't know how to do it. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't try it. I sort of understand the concept though. It helps maintain your balance and also keep your momentum going backwards. Drop a comment below if you tried this technique and it worked for you. If you've made it this far through the trick, shout out to you. Because you pretty much made it through the hardest parts. But the rollout can still get you, so let's talk about it. Rollout is exactly what it sounds like. It's just getting out of the trick and rolling away. Personally, I try to go for clean 360 fish and chips. I want to end the trick going the same direction that I started the fish and chips. I also don't want to come to a dead stop, and this is probably the hardest part of the rollout. As you come to about 270 degrees, you're going to start to shift your weight back onto the seat. This is going to slow down your spin and slow down your momentum going backwards. It can take a lot of effort to get back up onto your bike, and this is where having tight pants definitely comes in handy. I was always getting caught on the seat trying to pull myself back up. I definitely recommend trying to pull yourself up as you finish the spin. That way you don't get to the end and then pull yourself up, stop, and then push forward. This will also help you if you're doing the slider and you're not really figuring out a way to get out of it. It's pretty easy to be in the slider and keep spinning further than you want to. Getting your weight back onto the bike will help you control that spin. As you're pulling yourself back up onto the bike, your bars should naturally turn straight forward again. Oh, hello, Boo.
Boo got sick of me talking to the camera.
Ooh, there you go, buddy. Another thing that you're gonna wanna pay attention to is what your pedal position is coming out of the trick. If your pedals are straight up and down, which happens to me a lot, it's gonna be really hard to push forward out of the trick. Aim for them being level coming out of the slider. This will give you more leverage to push forward out of the trick. Depending on how long you do the slider for, you can change where your pedal stroke ends up as you come out of the trick. And the next thing you need to do is roll away. Give yourself a high five because you just did a fish and chips. As I mentioned before, post your progress on Instagram, tag me, tag FOAD gang. I want to see what you're doing with this trick. Post your fails, post your success, post everything. I want to see it. Be sure to follow us, hit us with a subscribe if you have not already. And I know I'm getting greedy, but turn on the post notifications. Yeah, maybe. Try it out, try it out. Also, I want to make an announcement that I'm coming out with an edit on my Constantine. I've been working on it for almost a year and a half. I've been filming tricks for this edit. I worked super hard on this video. Like I said, a year and a half in the making. So I really hope that you can check it out. Hit the subscribe, hit the post notification so you know when it comes out. I'll link it when it comes out here. Last but not least, if you liked what I was wearing in this video, go check out FOADgang.com. Thank you guys for watching. I really hope this video helps. This is a really hard trick, so make sure that you're patient, give it some time. Drop a comment with your progress, or if you have any questions, let me know what tutorial you want me to do next. And thank you guys for watching. Later.